Hey, listen, stretching your tight hip flexors is not going to solve the problem. They're tight and they're weak, and so you have to strengthen them. So while stretching your hip flexors can make them feel better temporarily, it's kind of like picking a scab. What we really got to do is strengthen them. And that's what's going to solve a lot of times many issues that you have with having issues with the hips, low back, maybe even the knees. So here's 6 different exercises you can implement into your training and into your day that's going to help you strengthen your hip flexors. So this is called a KB psoas march. I'm standing on a box so I can have that extra range of motion. I need to brace everything. So I'm going to support myself, and then I'm going to drive this up as high as I can. Actively continue to push it up, and then control it down, get that full range. Brace. Again, I don't want other parts moving. I want everything to come from the hip flexor. Try to get it past 90 as high as I possibly can, and control it back down. Start very conservatively, and also make sure that you're not compensating. Hunching over, leaning back to try to get that range. Right, we want to be nice and solid and just move straight through this hip. So this is a banded hip lift. Again, I'm going to have some support. I'm almost in a lean position like I'm sprinting. I'm going to drive up, try to get this past 90. I can even get on my toes, thinking nice and tall, control it back down. Again, don't use momentum, use strength to get yourself into that position. Pushing into the box so we keep that brace and abs, and all the motion comes from the hips. This one's from my buddy Vernon Griffith, and it's excellent. We're going to hook our foot into a dumbbell, stay nice and tall, eccentrically control, and pull ourselves up with that hip flexor. I can even extend my arms, make it more challenging. I could also add weight to this. Imagine having a kettlebell or any type of load. If I extend it, it's going to make this more challenging. The key is not using momentum and then using my hip to bring myself up. And as I go down, trying to drive this other hip. Again, you can make this more challenging. Bring the load up, bring the load overhead. But this is an excellent exercise. So with isometrics, we know we can carry over 15 degrees of strength up and down. So getting any type of play, I would say position, I like to just use the barbell because I can adjust it, put the pad into it, stay nice and upright. And from here, I'm going to now start driving into that barbell. As hard as I possibly can. Anywhere from 5 to as long as 20 to 30 seconds, again, depending on what our goal is here. The great thing about it is if somebody doesn't have as much hip mobility, we're going to then bring it down lower. As it improves, we can bring it up higher, have good posture, and just driving into that with maximal tension. This drill I learned from Drag Performance, and also great, used it for some rehab. I'm going to use a box where I can sit down on and create a bunch of tension, and now my hip's going into full extension. So I'm braced, so I'm not in my low back, right? I'm pulling, so I create tension in my lats, my abs. Everything's going to be moving from my hip, and I'm going to drive and pause. Control, let it stretch me here in this position, and pause. And again, I'm using this box to be able to have good posture, and I'm letting it control down, so I'm not letting it snap me, right? So I'm controlling it down, getting into full extension. If you looked at me from the side, you'll see that it's pretty much like that sprint position where the foot's back. And we're going to be doing this for anywhere from 10 to 12 repetitions, nice and controlled, using a weight that we can control, and then just strengthening it. So this is a little bonus. If you are stretching, and this is called a count stretch, one of the things I really like to do is create tension, right? The way that I say cells communicate is through force. The way that we create adaptation is by creating force, not just passively stretching. So I'm going to be in this couch stretch position. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drive back. I feel my stretch here, but now I'm going to push into the pad for 10 seconds. So I'm pushing down. Go. And I'm starting to push as hard as I can because now we're creating that force. Let's say I get my 10 seconds. I relax. Now I'm going to try to lift this to my butt. Again, 10 seconds, I'm getting some hammy cramps here, and relax. And I might do that for a couple of sets of 10 seconds push-pull. It's called pails and rails. But now we're actually creating force and creating adaptations in those positions. So that's a little bonus. So use these exercises to strengthen your hip flexors. And again, get them out of being tight. Get them being strong. And these are transferred to all your lifts, to sports performance, to reducing your injuries. If you love stuff like this, make sure you follow the channel for more.